Hello, hello. What? You got to turn it up.
And welcome back to the hottest show in town.
Looking on the inside of Colin Weimer, in at 3 and 4. But trouble in the backstretch. Drager going to follow suit. Campos ran the middle that time out of turn number 4. Here comes Campos on the bottom out of turn number 2. Matthew Drager running third, still on the high line. BJ Wow, long. Jerry Strand, Kevin Roberts running for that fifth position. Campos has committed himself to the bottom line, looking to move it at turn 2 in the forward drive of the 36. Does he have it here at turn 2?
Welcome to the pre-race show here from the 2016 Budweiser Nationals in Bakersfield, California. From the Mike Mosier Tower, we've got special guest David Sullivan, track announcer, along with Brian Smith, up here broadcasting from your house. Gentlemen, we appreciate you letting us come up here and be a part of this whole show. It's a very cool deal.
No, it's a pleasure, man. We really welcome you guys down here. You've been down here before, we appreciate it, and you guys are going to bring a big pizzazz from the Oregon area, so we appreciate it a lot.
Well, I'll tell you, last night was the definition of controlled chaos at its finest, with us having to switch back and forth between the broadcasts and announcing live in the shows and switching seats and computers. And
it's like I told Sully, it was like we was playing leapfrog.
No kidding. We pulled it off, and it went well. But, man, the racing last night on night number 1 was absolutely, phenomenal. The talk down in the pit area, I know you guys are down there talking with the drivers too. A lot of the guys were saying we couldn't believe how fast the track slicked off. That's not the norm here on night number 1.
That's what they were saying, yeah.
So typically on night number 1, we see it stay fairly hooked up, a little moisture in the track, give the guys something to work with towards the end of the night in the features. And man, this place burned up quick. It's going to be hotter than it was yesterday, today,
yep.
And everybody's setting up for the slick. There's no secrets out there.
Well,
they know what they're doing, and this is what it is.
So no, go ahead, Brian.
No, because a lot of guys are talking in the pits that, like Corey just said, they didn't expect the track to slick off so quick, but yet there was no cushion. Them guys were on the edge, using every bit of that track to get there.
We were talking about the drivers and stuff last night, and if you guys have been ever down here to Bakersfield, they literally started out the night, everybody was running the bottom. Literally, no one went to the middle. They just went straight to the top. Main events, everybody was to the top. If it took one person, then everybody followed. The weirdest part about it, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never been down here at Bakersfield Speedway, is their walls are completely white. It was black. All the way black all around, unless somebody got up and over the 6-inch cushion all the way to the wall, use the right rear to scrape it off a little bit to find out where the wall was.
Yeah, I think he's giving credit with the 6-inch cushion, because I don't think that was the case. We were seeing sparks from cars' right rear corners on the front stretch last night.
Yeah, they were using every edge of the track.
Again, Corey, wants to thank you guys. I want to thank you so much. Mike Patterson, Corey, all of us here at Moxie stuff, coming into your guys' house. It was a mass chaos. I want to say kind of orchestrated chaos. It's a little bit better now. I hope.
Yeah, it's a little better today. I got to tell you, I've been through this many times, and so you just learn to adapt. And you work with everything, trying to make a go of it. We had some problems last night, but we worked them out today, and it really was a great show. One of the things that we enjoyed is we got to watch some of the racing instead of working it, and we did enjoy that very much. And I remember last year it was just Corey and Mike Patterson down, and Moxie Media has grown into this wonderful program that if you can't be the track, you can still pick up the racing action. And this is such a prestigious race in the western half of the United States. The driver count, probably 150 today, and we'll get an actual in about 20 minutes. But all the drivers I talked to, you're right, Corey, the track did glaze up, but the track was smooth. And they really did love that, and they're looking forward to the same track tonight.
Well, and that's the thing. Typically this race, we see the track hooked up on night 1, and with a little bit of rough, and you got a cushion to put the right rear tire on. It was completely opposite. It was like day number 2 on a typical show for this event. Smooth and slick from the bottom to the top,
Yep.
And the racing last night was awesome. Now, when you guys were calling the feature in the qualifiers for the sport mods, a lot of the Moxie crew was standing down in turn 4 watching it, because that's really a cool angle. You can stand down the concession stands here at Bakersfield Speedway and watch the cars come straight at you down the backstretch. And we watched a group of cars battling for second spot that were 3 wide for probably 6-7 laps. And I still don't know who finished second in that race, but it was an awesome show to watch.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to get out of the booth, and I love walking over, just like you said, in turn 4. You see them coming, the setup, and they're going back. We don't grab that perspective here in the Mike Mosier Tower. And so I wish we could find a way to call the race outside. Of course, it'll never happen. But it's just one of those things that happen. I was really impressed with the responses from the drivers this afternoon, talking with most of them in the pits, all very positive. I mean, a late model, one caution last night?
That was it.
Yeah, one caution
lap
last
20.
night. Yep.
So the American Stocks ran last night, and I wanted Dakota Brown, who's our track champion. He broke. It didn't finish the main event, and I wanted to see him today. He finished the season as champion, but I'm sure he's disappointed because he didn't win the Bud National, and I want to get that to him. But anyway, tonight we have the IMSA stocks, and the hobby stocks will be back tonight. They did a qualifier last night, and, of course, the late models and the rest of the show.
Well, right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't hear it, right now we're having wheel packing out there. We have every car, sport mod, late models, street stocks. Now, let's talk about your hobby stock, street stock, all division of your street stock division. Now, this is a class that we have, up north, where we're at, Willamette Speedway, Banks, Speedway up there.
Right.
And those guys drive hard. To our group, they drive hard. Down here, they drive like they're on Highway 99 or I-5, 152 miles an hour, 7 wide in a 4 wide spot. Dude, Sparks, these guys are crazy, but it's so much fun to watch these guys. Yeah. Opening lap, I believe it was your American stock. Opening lap, they're coming out of turn number 4 down the front stretch, and they're just, they're banging doors. They're 4 wide going into turn 1 and 2, never lifting. That right there took my whole night and went, and that's Josh, what I was here for.
The biggest thing about that, too, I think one thing that impresses Josh and I so much about that racing, now, our street stocks, what we call street stocks, which are more comparable to your, is it the hobby stocks, Brian?
Yeah.
Your hobby stock.
Yeah. Hobby stocks.
Are more comparable to street stocks.
I think Brian's still tired.
See, now, where we're at our tracks, you guys have to run a DOT tire on those cars, correct?
Right.
Okay, at our track, we run the G60s, and we run the big wide asphalt tires. They got a choice to run either or.
Right.
So there's a lot more tire under those cars. And these guys on these DOT tires with a big 77 Monte Carlo or whatever, they're slinging it in like they're in a late model. And to watch that on this track is, it's impressive.
Well, to me, hobby stock is my favorite division for several reasons. The one is that you can go anywhere in the nation, any dirt track, and you're going to see a hobby, what you call street stocks. It's a staple of dirt tracks, along with our America stocks, IMSA stocks. We have lesser mod lights and then, of course, mini dwarfs. But that's a staple of dirt track throughout the history of dirt tracks. And I really enjoy them. And you're right. We have a lot of tough drivers here in all divisions. American stock was a very tight points race. Hobby stocks, at the end, the champion was, and all he had to do is start the race. But it's so competitive that you don't know. We could have 9 different winners in 9 different races.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a tight field of cars. That's one field where you don't really see a guy get a half a lap lead or a quarter lap. They're there. They're racing the whole time. They're busy in the cockpit. It is an awesome thing to watch, and I'm expecting more of that because it's the surface that we're going to see is going to keep everybody pretty equal because it's not about horsepower tonight.
Well, let's talk about tonight. Day 1's done. Okay,
that's right.
Your testing's done. Day 2, and you got to get it done tonight to pick up, first of all, the prestigious win, Mike.
Exactly. And not only that, night number 2 brings new challenges because out with the American stocks, in with the IMCA stock cars. This is a whole nother closed wheel type of ride. So you guys are going to come out. You haven't seen this IMCA stock car out here on this track.
It's awesome.
It's nuts.
It's good.
And don't forget, Mike, they got the pro stocks tonight too.
Yes,
that's a class.
The pro stocks that would be equivalent to like your super stocks out there, your super streets.
Yep.
Super sports.
But those guys come out, we run the tops on them. We don't run the sideboards. But those guys, they look like late models. You can go out in the pits and you go, holy crap, there's like 50 late models.
Yeah.
But there's 20 late models, 20 pro stocks.
Yeah.
And it's that close and that much,
a
little bit different on them.
I got to give a shout out to the crew here and the staff at Bakersfield Speedway. First of all, it was nonstop. One finish. Cars were on the track for the next race. We did take a break to do a small track prep, and then you saw last night if we had an incident, the officials were right on the scene immediately.
We were talking about that too. A lot of feedback from what happened here several months ago with the fire and talking about not having the water truck, everybody. A lot of people from up north, south there said, we're not going to come down to the Bud Nationals just because. Had a lot of controversy. We had a positive, we had a negative. And it's understandable. You want to go to a track and know that, hey, if something happens, you're going to be safe. I personally, Moxie Media, everybody else here, I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen what the professionalism of Scott Schweitzer, the whole crew, you guys and everybody else, they sat there and with just a minimal amount of time to get ready for the Bud Nationals, got their fire safety crew. I'm telling you, the incidents and stuff that happened last night, we had about 6 of them. We had almost the rollover on the front stretch wall.
Right.
We had the rollover over there, and I believe it was the American Stocks over there, out of turn number 4. That right there, we're on top of it and made sure that driver was safe within seconds. The whole crew, absolutely professional.
Well, and
that right there was class act.
It's a big difference than what we saw on that video about 6 weeks ago, and we kind of talked about that, prior to even coming down here. And it's been, I know you guys have listened to Northwest Dirt News, and you've kind of heard some of the stuff we've been talking about and hyping up the Bud Nationals and me giving Josh an education on the event.
Right.
But that was one thing we really, as a group last night at Denny's, sat down and talked about as we were having dinner, was the response. We didn't see a response when the modified incident happened, the 2 cars burned to the ground. Last night, the car that Josh talked about that flipped down there, I believe that was an American stock.
Yes.
Yeah, the 24
Okay.
Johnson.
Upside down in turn 4. I mean, that car was barely done rolling, and they had crew members on the scene. That driver was out of the car within, seriously, 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
He's out of the car, and they were like, hey, he's okay. The crowd that's a good thing for the crowd to see.
Well, what happened after the incident with the in turn 3 with the 2 cars burned was that week Scott Schweitzer put the crew together and they changed the entire fire safety program, including hiring a fireman with a truck with a tank of water. We have, of course, our water trucks, but then we changed the extinguisher sequence, so each corner has 2 types of extinguishers there, and then they schooled the staff in the infield on what to do, because we knew it was tremendous and it was very scary.
Yeah. Well, that's just one thing every race fan or race driver or crew member hates to see is fire. Now, looking down in the pit area, we see an ambulance down there tonight. And we said it on Northwest Dirt News, knowing Scott Schweitzer and how he handles business here at Bakersfield Speedway, that was a learning experience for everybody. And I told everybody, I said, listen, if you know Scott like I do, he's going to step that up, and that will not happen again at his racetrack. He'll be prepared, and he's done a fantastic job of that.
Yeah, he sure did that. I came down here earlier in August. I came for the Mike Mosier Classic, and they had the mini dwarfs rolling. One of them turned on over in turn 2, flipped, had a fire. Safety crew was on it. Fire extinguishers, the proper fire extinguishers. Right. It's a fuel fire. They're not running out there with water trying to spray it with a kid inside of it. They were able to do the proper procedures to get that car fixed, get it moved, get it safely out of the way, and nobody was hurt. And it was amazing to see the difference between, just months earlier.
Well, I do a lot of conversation from time to time during the week with Scott Schweitzer. Keep in mind, this is not a promoter that stays home all week. He's back to track tomorrow if there's a test session. On Sundays, they'll be running go-karts here. He's the one that opens and closes the track. He's a hands-on guy every day of the week. And I really like it, though. On Wednesday here in Bakersfield, we have the Baco Power Hour, where we talk about the 3 different venues, the asphalt, the dirt track, and the drag strip on Wednesdays on Baco Power. So Scott will get busy, and that gives me the opportunity to go and talk with Griffin and talk about what's coming up at Bakersfield Speedway. So I really did like the fact that he's a hands-on guy.
I believe the professionalism is underrated when it comes down to Scott Schweitzer. We've dealt with a lot of promoters and stuff, a lot of tracks and stuff that we travel to. We deal with a lot of promoters and a lot of, venues, and you see different things. Coming here and, 2 days afterwards, he had that live video, they interviewed him, and Scott Schweitzer sat right there on that tire and told him, you know what? And like you said, it will never happen again in my track. It is my fault, and this is the cool thing. He didn't blame it on nobody else.
Right.
Nobody here at this facility except for himself. I'm telling you right there, that is a class act. That is 110%. Now, speaking on top of that, is that I'm sure exactly as soon as somebody sat there and that happened, he's thinking and said, change. He's not scared of change. That is a man. He comes up here and he thanked us for coming up. Everything, on top of us thanking you guys for coming up here in the booth. It's awesome. But that is a professional guy. This facility, I'm overwhelmed. Again, I'm having goosebumps and stuff from last night. I was so tired. I was ready to. I fell asleep so fast after Denny's. But it's such a professionalism to be here. Thank you guys so very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Again, it's always a pleasure. I told Corey the door is always open. But this afternoon in the pit.